Our story for today was called The Farmer's Best Friend. We have 4 questions over our story. Let's take a look at question number 1. The author included the information in the second paragraph to blank. A. Tell how many brothers and sisters George had. B. Tell where George was taken when he was a baby. C. Explain George's humble beginnings. Or D. Tell how much was paid for George's return. The author included the information in the second paragraph to blank. So they only want us to pay attention or to focus on the second paragraph. Who can tell me what answer choice do you think made the most sense about the second paragraph? What answer choice made the most sense for the second paragraph? The author included the information in the second paragraph to blank. Kylie, what do you think? Did you pick A, B, C, or D?
B.
B. Tell where George was taken when he was a baby. Okay. Kylie, is it important for us to know where he got or where he was taken? Do you think that was the important thing that the author was trying to show us?
No.
Probably not.
I just guessed on it because I was still reading in
Okay.
the second paragraph.
Okay, well, let's take a look at the second paragraph. In the middle of the night, when George was only 1 week old, slave raiders stole George, his mother, and sister, and took them away to Arkansas. Moses Carver sent someone to find the family. George was the only one found. Moses Carver traded a racing horse valued at $300 for the infant George. The Carvers, who had no children of their own, raised George and his older brother as their own children and educated them at home because there were no schools for black children. Okay, so Kylie, did you get to finish reading the story?
No.
Okay, well, let's take a look at the rest of it then. At the time, farmers in the South grew mostly cotton, and you can't eat cotton. So George conducted scientific studies to learn the best ways to grow the peanut. He experimented until he had learned to make 200 different products from the peanut, including peanut butter. He also devised over 100 products to make from the sweet potato. Carver taught farmers how to make a profit on their farms. He will always be remembered as the farmer's best friend. So, Kylie, what did he do that was important? Why do people remember him?
Because he because
What did he end up doing later on in life?
he ended up studying and learning how to plant the peanuts, and like turned it into peanut butter and other stuff like a sweet.
Okay, so he was studying the peanut. He learned about how to grow the peanut, how to plant it. And then, like you said, he learned how to make peanut butter, but not just that,
Also sweet potato.
also sweet potato. And he discovered 200 different things to make from peanuts and 100 things to make from sweet potatoes.
Potatoes.
So he learned a lot about sweet potatoes and about peanuts, what to do with them. So when he was a kid, is it important that he was taken to Arkansas? Does that change what he did later on?
No. Yeah, but that's in the second paragraph.
You're right. So the second paragraph talks about him getting taken, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what happened after he was taken?
Um, he, um,
He got
he,
taken, and then what?
what?
He got taken, and then what happened next?
He was raised with a big brother.
He was,
And,
but there was something that happened in the middle. He was taken away, something happened, and then he was raised with his brother. What had to happen in the middle?
he discovered new things.
No, he didn't discover new things. Not when he was an infant. That would have been very, very impressive for a baby to figure all that out.
Uh,
Violet, can you help her out? What happened in the middle there? He got taken away. He was raised with his brother, but what happened in the middle?
oh, the Moses Curve traded a racing horse value at 300 for the infant George.
Okay, so someone
Um,
had to trade for him, right?
mhm.
And then he was raised by his brother, or sorry, not by his brother, but with his brother. By again, it tells us that people who weren't even related to him, they weren't his mom and dad, but they traded the horse for him, and then they raised him and his brother. So all of this has a purpose. When the author wrote all of this, he included all of this for a reason. Kylie, make sure you're paying attention, girls. Right now, we don't need the pencils or highlighters or anything else. Is it important for the rest of the story that we know how many brothers and sisters he had? Does that change anything else in the story? No. It wasn't important, we said, where he was taken. It doesn't matter where he was studying the peanut. That wasn't the important part.
To return.
It wasn't about how much they paid for him. Because the rest of the story doesn't talk about how much they had to pay for the baby or what they had to give up or trade to get the baby back. The reason, or the thing that would make the most sense for the author to include all that information would be C, to explain his humble beginnings. Who can tell me, what does humble mean? What do you think it means, humble? Or even in this case, what do you think it means? His humble beginnings. What do you think they're saying about him? What was the beginning of his life like? Was the beginning of his life very good? See some of us shaking our head. No, not really. Humble normally means it's like the opposite of bragging. But in this case, when they say humble beginnings, that usually means that it's a very ordinary or very plain or very boring start, or in this case, a very bad start. So even though his life didn't start out very well, he ended up doing very important things, and people still remember him to this day because of all the things he figured out later on in life. So even though the beginning of his life wasn't very good, he made something very good out of his life. Question 2. On actually, for our proof here, you can see here, the middle of the night when George was only 1 week old. So when he was only 1 week old is when he was stolen. So that's definitely a humble beginning. Not a very good start to his life. Question 2. The author organizes the third paragraph by blank. So this time we're focusing on paragraph 3. Organizes it by A, stating the farmer's problem and how George helped to fix it. B, comparing different types of peanut products. C, stating the order that George created the new peanut products. Or D, persuading farmers to grow new peanut products. Okay, so let's talk about the organization a little. Right now, Chase, we're just focused on this. Stating the farmer's problem and how George helped to fix it. So one way to organize something is what they call problem and solution. The first thing you do is you say, here is the problem, here's what's going on, and then you try to present a solution, a way to fix it or get around it. B says comparing different types of peanut products. Comparing we've done a little bit before in class. Comparing is when you take two different things and you talk about how are they the same and how are they different from each other. So you could talk about anything that makes those two things the same. So if we're talking about different peanut products, we could say, well, they both have peanut as an ingredient, but some of them you might say, well, this one is, I don't know, it's crunchy, it has chunks like peanut butter, like crunchy peanut butter. Or if it was peanut oil, you would say, well, this one doesn't have chunks, it's just liquid. You could talk about how is it the same, how is it different. C, stating the order that George created new peanut products. That's like just putting them in order. The first thing he made was this, and the second thing he made was this, and the third thing he made was this, and the fourth thing he made was this. Like steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And D, persuading farmers to grow new peanut products. We've talked about persuading before. Who can tell me what was persuading? We said persuading is when you're trying to do what? You're persuading someone, what are you doing or what are you trying to do? Noah?
Make them want to get it.
It could be you're making them change their mind. So you gave a very good example, like an advertisement for food or something, or for toys. You're trying to change their mind so that they think, I need to go out and buy this. Whatever toy or whatever food it might be, you're trying to get them to change their mind and think, I need to go buy that. So who can tell me, for question 2, the author organizes the third paragraph by what? Was the author telling us the problem and the solution? Was the author comparing two different peanut products? Was the author telling us the order of all the things he invented? Or was the author convincing or trying to change farmers' mind that they need to grow peanuts on their farm? What did the author do? Paragraph 3. A, B, C, or D? What do you think, Kylie?
I think it is C.
Stating the order that George created new peanut products. Okay. How many peanut products did he make or did he come up with?
20. 200.
200. Do I see a list of 200 things in paragraph 3?
No. I just
No. They give us one, peanut butter. But they told us that he learned how to make 200 things. Paragraph 3 would be very, very long if they told us first he made peanut butter, and then he made peanut oil, and then he made this, and then he made this, and then he made this. They don't have enough space to list all 200 things that he made. So they're not telling us the order he made things in. So it can't be C, which means it's either A, B, or D. Stating the farmer's problem and how George helped to fix it. B. Comparing different types of peanut products. Or D. Persuading farmers to grow new peanut products.
The attendance bell just rang.
You can tell me, what do you think? A, B, or D? What answer choice makes sense with paragraph 3? At the time, farmers in the South grew mostly cotton, and you can't eat cotton. So George conducted scientific studies to learn the best ways to grow the peanut. He experimented until he had learned to make 200 different products from the peanut, including peanut butter. He also devised over 100 products to make from the sweet potato. Let's look at our answer choices. We'll start with the bottom one. Don't worry about it, Nakai. Persuading farmers to grow new peanut products. Is the author writing to farmers or talking to farmers and trying to change their minds? Is he telling them, hey, you should grow peanuts because of this, and also this is a good reason, and you could grow peanuts and do this with it? Is that what the author is doing in paragraph 3? Yeah, Alexa, I saw you shake your head. What do you think? Is the author doing that in paragraph 3? Is he talking to farmers and telling them you should grow peanuts because of this and because of that?
No.
No. Okay. So we said no to D, no to C. Alexa, they tell us about peanut butter. Do they talk about a different peanut product and tell us how they're the same and how they're different? Do they talk about any other peanut stuff besides peanut butter in paragraph 3?
Cotton?
But cotton's not peanut. It's a different plant. So do you see something else they talk about with peanuts besides peanut butter? Like, do they talk about peanut brittle or peanut oil or boiled peanuts? Anything like that?
No.
No. So they can't compare anything because you need two things when you're going to compare. Because otherwise, it's just one thing by itself. Does he tell us about a farmer's problem? Do they mention any problems that the farmers had? Is there anything in paragraph 3 that sounds like a problem? What do you think, Kaylee? Is there anything in paragraph 3 that sounds like a problem?
You can't eat cotton?
You can't eat cotton. They told us that back then, most of the farmers were growing cotton. That was pretty much it. But, big problem, you can't eat cotton. So even if you grow a whole bunch of cotton and you can make tons of clothes and everything else, you've got nothing to eat, you've got a pretty big problem. Because you don't want to just start eating your clothes. They don't taste as good and they're not going to do a whole lot for you. Your body needs something better than just cotton. So, how did he help them fix that problem? They can't eat cotton, so what did he tell them they could do, Kaylee?
Plant different plants?
What was the idea he gave them? Which plant did he tell them, hey, you could grow this?
Sweet potato?
That's one of them. What's the other one?
And peanut.
And peanut. So he told them, well, you can eat cotton, but he figured out how to make sweet potatoes and how to make peanuts grow. And he told them, hey, you can plant these, you can eat these. And he even found all these different things to make out of them. So that way people would have food too. So we have a problem. Can't eat cotton. But we also have a solution. He learned the best ways to grow the peanut. And, like you said, he also learned about sweet potatoes. So the best answer here is A. They told us what the farmer's problem was. They could grow lots of stuff, but not a lot of food. And then the solution. He figured out how to grow the peanut and how to make lots of different food and stuff from it. Sentence 3. Which sentence best shows that George cared about people in his community? What does that mean? He cared about people in his community. Who can tell me, what does that mean if you say that someone cares about people? Noah, what do you think it means?
That uh
You can give
that
me an
they
example too.
like they will protect them.
Okay, protecting people would be a good example. Caring shows that you care about what happens to other people. So protecting them might be one way. Because if you're protecting people, you're trying to keep them from getting hurt, you're showing that you care about what happens. You don't want them to be hurt. In general, it could just be helping people. So it doesn't always have to be protecting them from getting hurt. It could be helping them, like if they have a problem or if something's very difficult for them, that you help them out and you show them maybe an easier way or a different way to do something. And that way they know and they don't have to work as hard. Or you help them out with their job. Like if mom or dad's carrying in groceries into the house from the car and they've got lots of bags, if you go out and you help them grab some of the bags, that's showing that you care because you're not letting them do it all on their own. You're helping them out. Or if brothers or sisters, particularly little brothers or sisters, are cleaning their rooms and they're putting away all their toys or their crayons or whatever else, and instead of just watching them and seeing them put away all the stuff by themselves, you go and you help them out. That would show that you're caring. So they want a sentence that will show that George cared about the people in his community. So not just his family, but other people. However, he had very humble beginnings. Does answer choice A show us that he's helping anybody or protecting anybody? No. B. Carver taught farmers how to make a profit on their farms. What's profit? How to make a profit on their farms. What do you think that means? I can tell you that profit's not like a kind of plant or anything, so it's not about growing. What do farmers do, you think, with all the food and the vegetables and in their case cotton that they were growing on their farms? What do they do once it's all grown and they go and they get it all? What are they going to do with it? Jadine, what do you think? What do you think they're going to do when farmers have all their vegetables and the cotton grown and everything? What are they going to do with it? They can make clothes. That's true. Do you think that they just make clothes for themselves? No. If you have a farm, it's not a little tiny piece of land, right? It's not like a front yard for some of our houses. A farm, if you've ever seen them, are huge, huge spaces of land with tons of plants that are growing, or vegetables or whatever they're growing there at that farm. There's a lot of it. So if it was food and if they were going to eat it, there's no way they're going to eat all of that by themselves. So what do you think they would do with all that extra that they had? What do you think they would do with all the extra food and all the extra clothes, Jadine? What could you do with it? They'll sell it. Profit actually means making money. Like when you have a business, profit is how much money you're making. So he taught farmers how to make more money on their farms. Is that sentence showing that he's being helpful or that he's protecting people? Yeah, because it'd be nice for the farmers to make more money. So that's looking like a pretty good answer choice. C, at the time, farmers in the South grew mostly cotton, and you can't eat cotton. Well, that sentence isn't even about George at all. He's not mentioned in that sentence. That's not a very good answer choice at all. Bella, make sure we're focused. D, Moses Carver traded a racing horse valued at $300 for the infant George. Does that sentence show George helping anyone or protecting anybody? Nakai? No. That shows Moses Carver helping someone, but not George. George was just a baby. Babies can't really help out a whole lot. So the only sentence that shows that George was helping anyone was B. He taught the farmers how to make a profit on their farms. That was right here in the last paragraph. Question 4. What actions did Moses Carver take that had an effect on George's life? What actions did Moses Carver take that had an effect on George's life? So there are two answers that I think would be very, very good for question 4. Who thinks they can tell me one of the things? What is one thing that Moses Carver did that had an effect on George's life? I think there are two big things that Moses Carver did that affected George's life. One of them was mentioned in question 3. Violet, what do you think? Where do I see Moses Carver? What paragraph do I see something about Moses Carver? Paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3, or paragraph 4? Okay, paragraph 2. In the middle of the night, when George was only 1 week old, slave raiders stole George, his mother and sister, and took them away to Arkansas. Moses Carver sent someone to find the family. George was the only one found. Moses Carver traded a racing horse valued at $300 for the infant George. The Carvers, who had no children of their own, raised George and his older brother as their own children and educated them at home because there were no schools for black children. So what's something that Moses Carver did that changed George's life, Violet? Something that if Moses Carver didn't do that George's life would be very different. Okay, so he sent someone out to find him, and then he traded the horse, right? They said $300 to get him. Okay. You mentioned him that he raised him too. He didn't just get him back and then go, "Who wants a baby?" When he got him back, he took care of him, right? And when he raised him, what else did he do? They said that he raised him, that he raised George and his brother as their own children, and they did what? Hang on, JD, because I think Violet's. There we go. Yeah, Violet was writing her answer. You're right. He taught him. He educated him. They said at first it's because they didn't have schools for black children back then, so he had to teach him himself. But all of those things changed his life. If he hadn't have sent someone out to find him, they wouldn't have found him. If he didn't trade the horse for him, they wouldn't have gotten him back. If he didn't raise him, someone else would have. Or if he didn't educate him, he might not have been able to do all those experiments and figure all this out about peanuts. So, two big things I would say. Number one, he traded for him, so he gave the horse away. And it was a pretty expensive horse. Gave the horse away for the baby, and like we saw, the baby wasn't even his. This was somebody else, someone that wasn't related to him. He traded for him. He raised him. Yeah, $300. Even today, that $300 is not, very, very cheap. And back then, it was even more expensive. $300 was a lot of money. He traded for him. He raised him. And he taught him. He did all of that for him, and it changed his life. Without that, don't know what he would have done. Those are our answers for today. I'll go ahead and leave them up for a bit in case you need to fix your own or change anything on your page.